Keenan, I know you were getting pretty close there at the end of the year. I know you're not going to the bowl game, but what kind of work can you get done during bowl prep to kind of help this team, maybe from a scout team perspective, or just, leadership, that type of thing?
Yeah, just doing what kind of I've been doing all year, doing what I can, whether that be on the scout team or just coaching up some of the players in the room or on the defense. I think just doing that aspect, most of my work being done in the meeting room, I think is really helpful to the defense.
When you were deciding whether or not to go for the waiver and try to come back next year, what were you envisioning that you could accomplish next season by coming back?
I feel like, obviously this season didn't want to get injured, didn't want to miss it, and there's kind of that feeling of, want to finish, why I came, and wasn't planning on being here another year, but excited to be a part of that. So just come back and finish what I wanted to start, and to have a good year here in Tennessee, that'd be amazing.
Brent and Rick.
Keenan, where are you physically right now? I mean, obviously, you're not playing this game, so you've got time to get ready for spring practice and beyond. Where are you physically? What's your timeline in terms of kind of being back 100%?
Yeah, I mean, I've been told many times I'm really ahead of schedule for where the triceps should be. So I'm just taking that day by day and understanding I'm not doing the bowl game, so now I'm just trying to make sure I can get fully healthy as I progress along the way, not really rushing anything. So I'm getting stronger, getting back, feeling better, so I'm excited.
Keenan, I'm curious, you transferred in here, what's your take and how do the guys feel when they see other fellas transfer out, and get into the portal, and end up maybe transferring to competing SEC schools?
Yeah, we get excited. We know, a team may have needs or a person might transfer in, and you get excited as a teammate to not only compete, but be able to learn from new players and be able to kind of gather their experiences, because some of those transfer guys have played a lot of football. So I think it's exciting one way, and another part, accepting those guys into the brotherhood is a big piece, because they got to get used to this culture pretty quickly as they're coming to a new system.
Eric, then Reese.
Keenan not being able to play, unfortunately, this year. What did you see from some of those younger guys, Herring, Carter, T-Lander, Perry, and what have they done to get you excited to kind of work with those guys for another game?
Yeah, man, I've seen a lot of, I've said it before, but I feel like, they didn't look like young guys out there, what people would expect. They look like they've been playing the game, and I couldn't be more excited being a part of that room to see some of those young guys do that, especially fresh out of high school. To me, that's big time. That's big time to have those big minutes. Some guys who got probably a lot more time than they were expecting to play in these big games in the SEC. So to see them succeed, see them do what they do, I think is a great learning experience, and it's going to help us into this next year as well.
Being injured is obviously not great, but you kind of gain a new perspective looking at a broader view there. What did you learn during your time being hurt and away from playing?
Yeah, I mean, probably just overemphasizing that, any play can be your last play, and trying to make that play the best play ever. So I was just keeping that mentality. I've been injured before, and injuries are part of the game of football. So as you play the game, you just gotta be grateful for those moments you have, time you have with your brothers, and every opportunity you get to play this game is a good opportunity.
Patrick and Mike.
Keenan, what would you say as you were determining what you were going to do? What was the biggest draw to coming back? You said you probably played to be here one season and move on. Obviously, the injury happened. What was the biggest factor as you were trying to decide what you wanted to do, if you wanted to play here next season or make the next step?
Yeah, I think diving into Tennessee, this program, it was really easy for me to say, man, I'd love to come back. Who would want to be here for another year? I think that had to do with a big part of me wanting to come back rather than leaving. Say it all the time, but I love the coaches here, love the coaching staff, love the culture that was brought here, and love my teammates. And I think that's a big part of why I love being here, why I would want to come back another year as well.
Keenan, when was the first time that you kind of had those conversations about the possibility of coming back, and what was the waiver process like as you went through that?
It was later in the year when I was making those decisions, but I knew I had another year coming into Tennessee that I would be able to get a waiver from previous years. So I wasn't too worried about that. I just didn't really talk about it a lot that I had 2 years left. I did have another year. So it was pretty easy, I think, to get it.
Rob.
Keenan, just how much did the coaching staff specifically have to do with go back conversations you may have with guys on the defensive side? How much, did that motivate you to want to stay and be part of the program?
Yeah, I know these coaches have my, the players' best interest, so a lot of the talks I had was, pros and cons, what would it be like coming back, what would it be like if you left, how would all this work out? And I think those conversations I had with coaches and certain people really helped me in the long run to make a well-informed decision and something I'm comfortable with and excited about.
You mentioned earlier one of the questions about welcoming new guys in, in the culture here. Why for you has it been such a fit? I think you're on the leadership council. You're a guy who had to come and learn the culture. Why does this fit so well for you here?
I'll just credit that to the coaches and what they built from the beginning they came. Obviously I wasn't here when they first came, but from the players that I've talked to, since them coming here, there's been a big switch in culture. I think that's kind of why when I was on my visit, I couldn't help but like, oh yeah, I could play here, I could be here, and that's why I wanted to commit there. So I think just being able to understand that from the coaches is the big part.
Patrick.
Obviously, you had a pretty good preseason camp, probably had high expectations for the season, you get married your first game. I'm sure before you got into deciding what you were gonna do, it was probably pretty hard, right? I mean, what were you kind of leaning on to kind of help support you and get you through some of the toughest early parts of after the injury and get you through all that?
A lot of players in the position room I think helped me early on. I knew the injury was bad, like right after the game, and I was pretty down about that. And then, as quick as anybody else I seen anybody, it was the players that was picking me up from my position room and on our team. So they've helped a lot. Me having my wife at home has helped a lot through the surgery process for sure. But just staying close to my family, staying close to the coaches and the team here has really helped me.
Did you know during the game that something was wrong when you remember the play where it happened, or was it just after the game you felt it?
Yeah, I felt it happen in the first quarter, and as a player you're like, man, there's no way, and you just played through it. But I think the third quarter came, I was like, man, I can barely move my arm. So I was like, man, get it fixed.
Thank you, Keenan.
Thanks.